Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Unit number 5, lecture number 27. 10th class, we are going to study about the random files today. In our previous lectures, in unit number 5, we had studied about user-defined functions and sequential files. In last program, there was an issue with the code that was not properly running. So I have fixed that problem. What is the problem with that program? Let me tell you about that. The first issue was that it was giving error on here and if. So I have removed this line, so it is now properly working. The second thing you have to understand that change the answer to short word and name to smaller name. Don't use whole name, use n, and use ans or an for string values input, so it will work properly. uh, Here it is. I had used it. I had replaced the answer to ans and name to n, and with this it is working properly. And the line here, the end if I have removed it, with that it is now properly working. So let's move to our next topic, that is about random files. If the solution to the problem you are working with deals with directly accessing a particular record in a file, then the most efficient algorithm to use would involve using a random file access method. Random file access method that, like, where is your data is available. You directly go to that file and access your record. As previously mentioned, random files have the capability of accessing a record within a file without the need to access all preceding records like in sequential files, specifying that a file be treated as random uses a form similar to when specifying different modes operating for a sequential file. As with all file types, the first thing the programmer must do before attempting to use the file is open it. The form of opening a random file is as follows. Open file, double quotation filename.ext, double quotation for random as hash buffer len is equal to len or record variable. Notice that we open the file as being random and a buffer file number is used as unusual. If this does not look normal, the major difference is the len is equal to len function initialization. The argument record variable that is sent into the len function is a variable of record type. The len function will return the size of record variable in order to allocate space for each record to be stored in the file. What is the purpose of this len is? The purpose of len is that it helps you to record the variable and return the size of allocated space where the record is to be stored in a file. Writing or storing records. When dealing with a random file, you cannot send data from each field in a record one by one into the file. Instead, random file lets you send the content of the entire record to the file in one statement. In sequential, you have sent your data one by one, but in random, your data is sent at once. This is accomplished by using the PUT statement, and the put statement also specifies the location in the file where the record is being set. The PUT statement has the following form: put buffer number where you want to store the data, record number, and record variable. In the above statement, the buffer file number must be first specified. The number of the record or the location of the record to be placed in the file is next. And finally, the actual record variable is specified so the program knows which record to send to the file. Next is reading record. The complete opposite operation of the put statement would be retrieve or get data contained in a data file. Basic has a built-in function to handle this situation also. It is called get and has a form identical to the put statement. The form of the get statement is as follows: get hash buffer, record number and record variable. Remember one thing, that thus in writing the first syntax only the put is changed, and in the reading it replaces with get, and in writing it is replaced with put. Put means put in the data, where at this buffer with record number and record variable, at this record number using this variable, and get the data from this buffer, have record number using this variable. When using the get statement, any record can be directly accessed by specifying the record's number or location file number. This is what makes random files much more powerful than sequential files. We can create random files, but at this stage it is beyond the scope of the book. You must just have to understand it what it is, but we are not going to study it about in this level. You may go study it about in our classes. So what is random file? It is opposite sequential file where you have to read or write data in a file. You have to check each file one by one, but in random file you directly access that file that you required using the variable which is called record variable and record number. Okay, let's wind up our today's lecture. If you have any query or issue, let me know. Leave a question in the group, I will guide you in the group. Regarding to previous coding, I have tell you about the, and I have shown you a little bit of the image of the code. You can replace your code with that and perform your action. Soon inshallah I am going to try that. I am going to perform all the syntax by myself in the GW basics so that you have no issue. Let's see how I will be able to perform that. But student, do remember that you have to practice by yourself. I will catch you in next lecture. Till that lecture, take care yourself. Allah Hafiz.